Good morning. This is Steve Everett with Steve Everett Mortgage. We haven't done a video in a couple weeks, and during those couple weeks, I've had a few, let's just say, reminders of how important the subject is today. Uh, if you are a parent with children who are entering, let's call it adulthood, they have their first job, they're 18, 19, 20 years old, this video is for you. If you've had a life issue that took you from a credit file to a credit file devoid of any history because of a bankruptcy of some sort of or another, this video is for you. I want you to pay attention to this because this is not just Steve, the mortgage loan officer, that's talking today. This is also a dad. We're blessed to have 7 children. We've been down this road now 4 times out of the 7. 4 of our kids are out of high school. Part of my responsibility as a dad, I've always felt, was to prepare the kids for when that the Lord brings the mate into their life, that they're financially ready. That doesn't mean wealthy. We don't have money, but to have a good credit score, to not have bad debt, etc. And I want to help you with that. Doing what I do for a living, I see a lot of people who want to buy a house and they have a great job, but the bricks weren't necessarily stacked in the proper order to get ready to buy a house. That's what I want to focus this video on today. So what do we do when our kids have a job, they're 18, 19 years old, or we're out of bankruptcy and we want to reestablish credit? First of all, we're going to focus on how to help build a young person's credit file. In our home, we always use the first vehicle. Our kids pay for their own car, they pay their own insurance, their own cell phone bill. Now, it's on dad's account, but they pay the bill. And all but one of the 4 have driven a hand-me-down. Our second car is always a vehicle we could hand down to the kids because it's been driven, tested, and it's in good condition. Nothing fancy, nothing new, never over $5,000 on their car loan. The first step is to get a car loan, co-sign for 6 months. So mom and dad, you go with your child to the credit union and you co-sign for them to get that car note from you. Now, you may feel more comfortable. Be aware of this. You may be more comfortable with them paying you and you paying the bank because you have to protect your credit file. I understand that. But after 6 payments, you can then take yourself off of that car loan. Now, the child has a job. They have their own income. They have this co-signed car loan. They're making on-time payments, whether it's you or them, but the payments are made on time for 6 months. At this point, 99% of credit unions will allow them to refinance it and remove you off of that car note. Also, after 6 months, it'd be a wonderful time for them to go to Kohl's, JCPenney's, or another department store and get a store card. And then use it. Do their clothes shopping, do as much of their stuff as they can at that department store of items that they would normally purchase, and then pay off 80% of the balance every month. Note 80%, not 100%. Unfortunately, in this world, you have to pay some interest in order to build credit. And the number that the credit bureaus are looking for is 20%. They want you to manage your credit limit by keeping your balance at 20% or less. That shows you know how to manage a credit file. Now, this statement applies to everybody, regardless of your new, old, whatever. If you pay off an account to 0 and you no longer ever want to use the account, listen, don't ever close the account. That hurts your credit way, way more than just wrapping it up in an old dirty sock and putting it in your sock drawer and just forgetting about it. Just leave the card. Don't use it. That's great. Don't close the account. So step 1, car note. On-time payments, 6 months. Refinance it. Take mom and dad off the car note. kids continue to make the payments. At the same time, at that 6-month interval, get a store card for one of the local department stores where the kids can buy their clothes and necessary items and pay back 80% of the balance, whatever that may be, monthly. Carry 20% month to month. At this point, the child should, if not already, do it now, get a Credit Karma app on their phone. Create an account and let them watch their credit score come up and up and up. It'll typically only take about 9 months for that young person to build their credit to a 700 plus. For home purchase, a 700 credit score is absolute gold. There's 2 criteria. It's number 1 is what is your credit score? Number 2 is what is your length of history? You're going to want multiple trade lines. Typically, a lender's looking for 3 trade lines, and they're looking for length of credit history. So the sooner you get that car note, 18 and up, the sooner you get the car note to build a history, the better for their file. The sooner that store card is opened. Please understand, parent, somebody who wants to have a no debt environment. This is not about having debt. This is about having credit. You don't have to carry a lot of debt to have credit. You just have to manage it responsibly. If you can pay cash for the car, great. That's wonderful. Put the cash in the bank and take the loan anyhow for the $5,000. You have to do this in order to prepare yourself in order to one day buy real estate, buy a home for the family, okay? Our intent here is to help our children to be prepared for the marriage that's coming, for home ownership, etc. So step 1, get the car. Step 2, store card. Step 3 is Visa or MasterCard for gas, essentials, etc. You want about 12 months to get that 3rd trade line. Now, the credit union, maybe with your co-signature on a car loan, may also give you a Visa card right then and there. And that's wonderful. Ask them. But typically, you don't have to knock all the dominoes down in one shove. Okay, you can do it in steps. Car, store card, Visa, MasterCard. Okay. But if you can get 2 in 1 right at the get-go when you co-sign for the car loan, wonderful. Now, a lot of what we just talked about applies to young people, but in all aspects is after you come out of a life crisis, maybe a bankruptcy, it kind of works the same way. You're kind of, in some ways, financially, you feel like you're 18 again and you're starting your file all over. It's a little different this time though, because after a bankruptcy, you have to kind of get creative. If you're maybe an older individual, 20s, 30s, and you haven't started building a file or you're rebuilding a file, start it a little different. Start with a First Premier credit card. Go to your internet and type in First Premier. It's a great credit card with the low limit that will help guaranteed with a credit card after a life event that makes you start over. And use it. Use it for 80%, again, pay down 80% every month. Use it for gas, groceries, everything. Pay down 80%. And then carry a 20% balance and start rebuilding that file right away. As soon as bankruptcy's over. Don't wait. You got to restart the file. Don't feel like you have to sit morally in the penalty box for 2 years before you can start rebuilding your credit file. You do not have to. These are general tips. Part of what we do here at Steve Everett Mortgage is not just do mortgages. We'll often help people know, where do I start from here? What's here? We'll do what's called a soft pull credit file. If somebody doesn't know where they stand, we'll look at that soft pull. It doesn't affect your credit score, and see what's reporting now on the credit bureaus. A soft pull is Experian. It'll show what's reflecting on the Experian today, and we'll give you ideas on how to build a credit file. And then, again, all you do then is you start lining up, one after another, lining up the dominoes so that they start falling on course towards a goal. Where are you trying to get to? Where do you want your kids to get to? As a father, I want to be able to hand my daughter off to a fella and say she's got great credit, she has no bad debt. Bad debt is high balance credit cards, high interest, all that stuff. She's been paying on her car, it's paid for, what have you, and has a good credit score. And you have to start young. That's so critical. I'd be happy to help you in any way. If you have questions related to this topic, please reach out to me at Everett, Everett, at steveeverettmortgage.com. I'd be happy to help. I'm licensed in Michigan and Pennsylvania for a mortgage, but I'd be happy by email to answer any questions, any state, regarding this topic. And frankly, none of this is rocket science. You can Google how to build a credit file and it's going to give you the same information. Again, what I'm telling you today isn't as a loan officer, it's as a dad. And as far as the rebuilding credit, I've been there. I understand. I've had to go through that many years ago. So I understand sometimes you don't know where to look. I hope this information helps to direct you and help your children to build a file and feel like they're making steps towards their future. God bless you all. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. We're here to help in any way.